Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I'm up today with a fun collaboration for Mixed Media Frenzy. We are using this layout here as our inspiration. Now, forgive me, I can't remember whose layout that was, but if I do, I will link it in the description box down below. Now, we are joined by a whole host of lovely ladies this Friday. So everyone will be linked in the description box. Make sure you go along and check out their videos for some mixed media inspiration. Now, if you know me, you know I tend to do the same kind of mixed media. That's partly because I don't have that much mixed media, and one of the recent additions to my collection are my distress oxides. I've got a few now, not the whole collection by any means, but I've got a few. I was trying to get sort of colours in each of the colour families. So I've only got one green and this is it. Oh, sorry, that's not true. I've got two greens. Well, I've sort of got more of a yellowy green and then this colour. And so I'm just doing the packaging technique where I kind of put some of the ink onto some packaging, spray a little bit of water on, and then just smoosh it onto the paper. That is the official term, smoosh. Now, a couple of things to think about when you're doing this packaging technique, particularly with distress oxides. If you don't let them dry between each application, they will kind of mix together. And you know, the colours will run and combine, so just keep that in mind. I sort of soak up some of it, as you can see here, with my paper towel, but I don't let it dry completely, so I do get some kind of mixing of my colours. Now, I'm totally fine with that, but if you would like them to be a little bit more separate, then you would need to dry them off between each layering that you do. So I just used a distress oxide spray, which I have in a green colour. I think it might be cracked pistachio, I'm not 100% sure, and I think the other one is something sage. Yes, so I've got those two greens, and then I add a bit of yellow as well, just for some kind of colour, some differences in the colour, and then I add some spritzes of water first, just to get that oxide reaction. Now, it doesn't work as well because I'd already mixed water with the ink to smush it, if that makes sense. And again, would have worked better if I had have let it dry before I added the ink to get, the water to get the reaction. Oh, I'm all over the place. It's really late on a Friday night here. Now, this is called Mixed Media Frenzy, and it does go up on Friday, but we're in Australia, so it actually goes up for most of the ladies when we're asleep on our Friday into Saturday. So I sort of forgot that it was Friday and I hadn't done my voiceover, so I'm doing my voiceover now, but it's very late. It's been a long day and a long week. So I apologise. I'm probably going to trip over my words a little bit. So I sprinkled some of the yellow that I have in the Distress Oxide ink. It's a mustard one. And now, so funny story, I have a full set of acrylic blocks for stamping from Stampin' Up, and I have a full range of inks and quite a few different stamps, but I have put together some card classes in a box, and I've got 4 girlfriends who love to stamp, and they come to my house and we make cards. And so during isolation, I created 4 separate card classes and put them into boxes, and then the girls have all been kind of passing them to each other because they were 4 different classes in each box. And so I don't have any acrylic blocks, I have barely any ink, and I have barely any stamps at my house because they're all in those boxes. So I just had to kind of improvise. So this is actually a magnetic photo frame. It's half of a magnetic photo frame, which worked amazingly as a acrylic block because it's an acrylic photo frame. And then I had a gold ink, I think it's Memento, and I just use a floral stamp. Now, you really can't see it, and that's okay because it was kind of the subtleness that I was going for, just to add a little bit of gold detail in the background. So I'd used 2 different floral stamps, and the gold ink is actually quite shimmery. I've barely used it, but I need to bring it out again a little bit more because it added some cute detail into the back. So I was really happy with that. Now, the photo that I'm using is of my son eating chocolate pudding and it had gone everywhere, and it's those cute photos when babies are babies and food goes everywhere. And so I wanted to kind of, I don't know, go with the sort of messy theme of the photo and the kind of chaos that the photo is, and try and replicate that in my layout a little bit. So I have pulled out some thread, metallic thread from my stash. It's a green, and I'm going to kind of add that over top of my mixed media, and just let that add a little bit of texture. I think the thing with mixed media as well is I don't think it always has to be, I mean, I could be wrong, but this is my interpretation. I don't think it always has to be kind of wet. When I think mixed media, I also think different textures, like thread and even like fabric and ribbon and things like that to your layouts, not just the sort of standard paper embellishments. So, that's kind of where I was going with this thread. Plus, the inspiration layout definitely had some scribble in the background. Well, at least I think it's scribble and doodling. And I was going to do that, but I only kind of had a black pen on me and it was just a bit too harsh. And so I decided not to do that. And sort of the thread is replacing that scribble. But again, it's that kind of messy vibe that I'm going for. So I'm just adding some double-sided tape down in a couple of places where I know I'm going to have embellishment clusters to hold my thread. Sorry if you can hear that noise in the background. It's my cat playing in a box. Are you right there, Mac? Yes, you're okay? Good boy. He's playing in an empty box in my craft room. So yes, I am just adding, as I said, some double-sided tape down to hold that thread in place. And I've added that double-sided tape where I know I will put embellishments over the top, so you won't be able to see it. So the thread doesn't get stuck down in many places, but also the act of putting embellishments and building my layout over top of it will secure the thread as well. Now, the inspiration layout we were using kind of had this, I guess it was kind of a diagonal feel, but there was a lot more going on at the top and then sort of a little bit into the bottom right. And so I kind of was trying to keep that vibe. They used one 3x4 photo and so am I. I am putting a few layers behind my photo. I think the inspiration piece only had white and it was a black and white photo. And they used lots of pinks and yellows and it's a beautiful layout. I really hope I can find the original and I will link it down below because obviously not my idea. I am absolutely scrap lifting this. What am I doing? Oh, I'm still layering. I think I was trying to find a yellow to go with. And so I've used the yellow and then I am popping some foam on my photo so I can pop that photo up. And I probably should have said at the start, I'm using a few Vicky Bouton collections. I've got a couple of Vicky Bouton collections, older collections that I've sort of mixed together. And so I'm pulling from Vicky Bouton. And upon first, I've said this before, so if you've watched my videos, apologise. Upon first my first use of Vicky Bouton, I have to be the first one to say I wasn't a big fan of her scrapbook collections, love her mixed media products, and I also think she is a lovely person. But her scrapbooking collections, they were just a little bit too vintage-esque for me. And so I did find them a little bit tricky to use, but the more I use them, the more I've actually coming to be quite impressed. And I'm really happy. Sorry, I'm letting my cat out. He was going nuts in here. I've got the door closed so my partner's gone to bed, so I'm trying not to wake him up. But yeah, the more I use her collections, I'm actually I'm actually finding myself liking them more and more. So I definitely want to keep up that momentum and try and get a bit more of her collections used up. I've only got the older ones. I don't have any of the newer collections, or her new collection. Sorry, I don't have any of Wanda. Is that what it's called? But I've got some of the older ones. Now, the inspiration layout used some frames, so I've pulled out a few floral frames from the Vicky Bouton collections that I have and pairing them with a couple of other floral ephemera pieces and a few from one of the sticker sheets that I have. And so I'm just kind of working out how I want to kind of position those frames and layer up my embellishments. I've got a couple of love hearts which are on like a more of a crafty coloured cardstock, and they've got text on them, and they've got particular words highlighted. Say love, devotion, and beloved. So I don't know if that's supposed to be aimed at, I don't know whether it's supposed to be aimed at sort of a couple, or I'm obviously using it for my child because I do love my child. But I just thought they were also really cute ephemera pieces. And I like the text. And I've used a few small frames as well, which I have laid up behind the love hearts. So I've got small frames with the love hearts as well as the larger floral frames laid up. And I'm just kind of piecing it all together. So I've got, I guess technically 3 embellishment clusters, technically. I sort of have one on each side of my photo and then one down the bottom. But again, that's what the inspiration piece had. So I was just following along. Oh, I'm trying to kind of make my string look naturally messy. But in order to do that, I need to actually be very deliberate with where I'm putting it. So I feel like the naturally messy look is very hard to achieve, which amuses me somewhat. Alright, so there I am. I am sticking down my frames under there, and then I've layered 2 other floral pieces kind of sticking out behind my photo as well, just to add a bit of interest. I've got quite a lot of floral going on, but I think it looks cute. Oh, and you can see in the top left of my screen that I have fussy cut some butterflies from one of the vellum specialty papers that came in one of Vicky's collections. They are beautiful butterflies, and I haven't used the vellum at all for ages, and I've cut into it now a couple of times for the butterflies. I'm definitely going to fussy cut the rest and just have them in my stash to add because I think they're beautiful. So you can see me there adding a large floral piece, and I've added one to the bottom cluster as well. And then these are the little love hearts, and the frame embellishments that I'm sort of putting together. So I'm layering one of the little frames, and then I'm putting a love heart on top, and then sort of adding that to each of the 3 clusters. As I said, I'm kind of counting these clusters on each side of the photo as sort of 2 separate clusters. And so I'm adding that frame there. And then I'm adding one on the the right hand side of the photo as well. And I end up covering the green a little bit because, actually I cover a lot of the coloured components of the frames, because particularly the one on the top left, it's actually more of a red, and there's really not much else red in this layout. There is a little bit of sort of more of the pinky reds that I pull in with the butterflies, so I do try and tie it in that way, but there's not a lot of that more reddy pink in this layout. So here you go, I'm adding a few butterflies. Now, I think I'm about to finish this layout, but I do actually, you'll see in the photo at the end, I realised I forgot a title, and sometimes that's okay because I'm happy not to have titles, but this layout I think needed a title, so I do end up adding a title, and I add a couple more butterflies into, and then I'll photograph that layout and show you at the end. So please remember to go and check out the other ladies linked in the description box down below. You'll get lots of inspiration for our Mixed Media Frenzy series. There's quite a few ladies who are doing mixed media, and it's lovely to get ideas. I get new ideas all the time when watching them. So I would definitely encourage you to go hop along, leave us comments, subscribe to all of us, and you'll see lots of other exciting videos. Now, I think I'm considering what else I might add to this, and I know I come in with some splatters, and I'm going with a pink colour just to tie in a little bit more of that pink on the layout. And then I will say my sister and I were doing a Zoom scrapbooking session, and we were both filming videos, and we both had to go and pick up our children. So this is why I rushed this end bit. So you'll see me now in these close-ups. I have added a title that says just plain cute and a couple of extra butterflies, and that is the end. So everything will be linked in the description box down below. Please go and check everyone out, and we will see you later. Bye.